The Battlehosts. Be a better gamer, build a better community.
Welcome to Battlehosts, a podcast and website dedicated to helping you become a better 40K gamer and to build a better community of players. I'm your host, Mark, and with me tonight is Matt.
Hello.
And Sean.
Hi.
If you like what you hear, subscribe to us on iTunes to catch all the latest episodes. You can also follow us on Facebook under The Battlehosts. If you'd like to support The Battlehosts for as little as $1 a month, you can visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/thebattlehosts. If you join for $3 a month, you get access to our Discord chat, which we are basically discussing all things related to the hobby. So list ideas, just general discussion about 40K. We have a hobby segment. People post some painted stuff. So basically just a 40K chat in Discord. So $3 a month gets you access to that chat. Now, for this episode, we're going to discuss overlooked units in 40K. So these may be units that you don't hear about, you don't see very often on the tabletop. Some maybe have been dismissed online. Maybe they're not the most efficient choices. But whatever the case, we wanted to come up with some units that we think actually serve a useful role in your army. And, you know, they may not be the best, but they have some tricks, and sometimes they're a little better than you think. And really, I mean, if you love the model and it's painted, sometimes that's all that really counts. So these are units that we're not talking about like sleeping. I think for the most part, we can say most competitive players pick codexes clean pretty quickly. Occasionally, you'll see some things kind of pop up. It's like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But, you know, sometimes you want to take things you want to take. And these are some of the overlooked units that we find that we don't see very often, but I think can be useful. The idea actually from this segment came up from our Discord chat. We did a podcast on the Dark Eldar, or the Drukhari. And, you know, we kind of dismissed a particular unit, which I'm actually is going to be one of the overlooked units I'm going to discuss. We kind of dismissed it as like, okay, this one's not very efficient or effective. And, you know, we're guilty of anyone when we do codex reviews. Sometimes we just talk about the best units and we might ignore those others that are kind of useful. So one of our listeners kind of called us out and actually mentioned, he didn't call us out, but he mentioned on chat, he's like, well, you forgot this, and I think you dismissed this a little too quickly because it does this, this, and this. And I said, you know, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think that's kind of sometimes when you do codex reviews, you can't talk about every unit, otherwise you'd be here for hours. And we only hit the highlights, but sometimes there are those ones that probably we need to highlight. So that's what this podcast is all about. It's all about some of those overlooked units that sometimes you forget about, but you can still use. So before we jump into that, also, we're going to chat a little bit about Boise Cup experiences. Just a real quick recap. We're not going to go through the games or anything like that. You've heard that on lots of other podcasts at this point, but we just kind of want to chat a little bit about the major competitive event in our area here, and how we did. And then we'll jump right into our topic, which is overlooked units in 40K. But before we get started and all that, let's hear a word from our sponsor, DGT.
Playing a tabletop game at a casual pace can be fun, but running out of time and not getting your fair share is not. Playing with a game timer is the best way to speed up your play and make sure everyone gets an equal amount of game time. Check out the Easy Game Timer from DGT. It's a perfect solution for tabletop miniature games with a large lever for quickly changing turns and clear digital readout. It's simple to set up and customize, and your settings are saved when it's turned off. It's the most affordable and high-quality game timer on the market and is officially sanctioned by the International Chess Federation. The DGT Easy Game Timer is available from many online retailers. Wholesale pricing is also available for tournament organizers. Visit dgtnorthamerica.com to learn more. Speed up your game and improve your play with the Easy Game Timer from DGT.
All right, guys. So we were at the Boise Cup, and Sean, you and I played, and we also did paint judging.
Yes.
Which was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So for those in previous years, Aaron has always been okay with paint judging basically being player vote. And last year, I'm like, I really want to be a little more formal about this. And so I asked Aaron if I could do it, and he said, sure, come up with a system. So I came up with a rubric. And I needed to recruit somebody else to help paint judge. And so, Sean, you were gracious enough to help me do this.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's a little stressful, I have to admit.
A little bit.
A little stressful.
Just a little bit.
A little stressful. It's somebody's self-esteem and accomplishment in your hands, guys.
Well, I didn't pick up any models, trust me that.
No, we did not pick
Ain't picking up any of those models.
Yeah.
Carl, I dropped your knight. I know you spent like 150 hours on that. Sorry about that.
hand painting this shoulder. But yeah, that's actually a good point. There are people that take it very, very seriously.
Oh,
and
totally.
it's really difficult because it's so subjective. And I think we came up with a rubric. Not only, basically, a rubric is just we wanted to come up with all the different categories and how we might score with descriptions between like what is a 1 and what is a 3 for each of these categories. And we met ahead of time, and we actually had Izzy help us out as well, another local player, and we discussed kind of. And I think we calibrated the rubric a little bit.
Yeah.
And, the rubric wasn't perfect. I think we missed a couple things on it, and then we'll make adjustments for next year. But
generally, I really like the idea of it. So the biggest thing for me was I appreciated that the rubric was set up to where there were more points possible than what you could actually earn.
Yeah.
So there were, in sections, there would be like maybe 6 points possible, but there would be 9 different ways that you could earn those points.
Yeah.
So I really liked that you designed it that way so that it wasn't a case of, I feel like sometimes rubrics for painting judging becomes a checkbox.
Yeah.
That if you don't check every box,
you
just can't win.
Yeah, you don't have squad markings, so you lost
yeah,
the point.
Exactly, right? Even if your painting is amazing and gorgeous and lovely, and, a step above the next guy, well, if he checks all the boxes and you leave off 2 boxes, So I love that we had that where armies that did really, really well on say 4 out of 5 things could still place really, really high.
Yeah.
So.
And also we wanted to look at, there are some units or there's armies and painters that have just a real pop. They have a real vibrant scheme, which tends to draw the eye and is really interesting. There are some painters that have more of a weathered, realistic scheme. There are some painters that have, Space Marines are kind of hard to really just make dynamic because they are what they are. Some units just lend themselves to more interesting color schemes. But we wanted to sort of be able to, and of course there's some that have these elaborate display boards. So we wanted to be able to give bonus points for players that went certain directions with their army and not discount the effort they put into it. So
absolutely.
But I think the checklist rubric where you say, okay, here's 40 points possible. No squad markings, there's minus a point. No display board, there's minus a point. No, I don't know, whatever. Freehand, no conversions, there's minus 3 points. I don't like the idea that you start with points and then you lose them because you didn't do certain things.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, I think our rubric worked out really well. I'm really actually happy with how that worked. We'll make adjustments for next year. So, Matt, so TO, takeaway from the event.
Well, TOing in 8th edition is really boring.
Yeah.
I mean, I've TO'd in I think 3 editions, maybe?
Yeah.
And 8th edition is by far the most boring.
Yeah.
Most of the questions revolve around, hey, I don't think I can see him. He does think I can see him. Will you be the third, the tiebreaker on this one?
Yeah.
Or, hey, we didn't define this terrain beforehand. Do you guys count this as a blop or a blop? I'm like, I'm going to encourage you guys to dice this off. Here is 8th edition TO judging at its finest. Hey, guys, dice it off. Okay? Because there's nothing in the rules about terrain. Yeah. There's nothing in the rules about terrain, really.
Yeah.
But overall, no yellow cards, no nothing like that. Very clean run event. Everybody kind of gets along. The ITC code of conduct helps a lot.
Yeah.
It helps a lot because it gives judges guidelines for passive judging, so that we know when to interject and not to interject.
Yeah.
And people know what's expected of them, and they don't try to kind of get away with anything like that.
Yeah.
Chess clocks were mandated day 2. No problems there with any sort of accusations of slow play or anything like that. It went really well. It went really well. The hardest one was at Sean's table, of course. Sean had a quandary about the fly keyword and
in the charge phase.
In the charge phase, which is awesome. The fly in the charge phase that has moved back and forth 2-3 times now.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a fun one. But otherwise, pretty,
Yeah, cool.
No, very few waves.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's all you really want to ask for in an event is there's no drama, which there didn't used to be drama, but now things are out there more often. And if an event has drama, it doesn't even matter if it's even minor. It blows up and becomes the story. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But a drama-free event is always worthwhile.
Most of the TOing comes down to running around and checking if everybody's stuff is 3-color minimum and based.
Yeah.
And giving them kind of that stern warning, like, hey, your stuff does not have a base on it. It is standard that we need this stuff to have a base on it. We need you to go home tonight after day 1. We need you to base this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I need to pull your models.
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of rough for some.
Which
but
was, we only had to do it for one person who he had one Harlequin character that wasn't based.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
Yeah. Just here you go.
Hey,
Next time, just have a pot of texture paint just sitting there. Just go, here you go, just to base that thing.
here is some Elmer's glue. Here is some dirt that I grabbed from outside.
Make it work.
Please do not eat the glue or the dirt. Thank you.
I think next year. Aaron, that we're still just kind of coming off the event, but I think Aaron has said he wants to keep it at 80 players, which is perfect.
Yep.
And I actually think, it's funny you talk about the terrain rules. You're right. There aren't any. There's terrain cards, but I think we can probably push that in more. We could literally have much more breakdown of the different tables. And there's different theories of terrain. There's some like Nova where the tables are all the same. And that lends itself to being able to practice against it. It's set up a certain way. It's a very clean event because there are no terrain questions, which I kind of, in a way that's cool. It's very good for like matched play, but I kind of like the idea of having themed tables where you walk up to a table and some are this way and some are that way. They all have a certain standard of line of sight or terrain or cover, but they're not all the same. Yeah. So,
the Nova terrain is great for the standardization things that you just said. I mean, Mark and I, we played a game on a Nova table a couple weeks ago, and we liked it because there's two L-shaped buildings in the middle that are tall enough to hide a knight. Yeah, you can hide a knight behind those suckers.
Yeah, which is significant.
Yeah.
Yes. There's no levels on those middle L's, so things can't just camp up there and like I have the high ground. Yeah. Don't try me, Anakin. Yeah. Type thing. But it's not the prettiest terrain in the world. From the looks of it, the L's in the middle are just styrofoam. Yeah. It's two L styrofoam things. Yeah.
And they're just walls.
Yeah. And two kind of ruins in the corners and two pretty decent sized hills. Yeah. It's not the prettiest terrain in the world. It just is just super functional.
It's super functional.
And super handy.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of which, Nova. We're both going, Matt.
Yes.
Yeah, we were. Nova sold out quick, but I eventually got a ticket, and we're going. So
Mark forgot that there are time zones not our own.
Yeah, I was totally. I was sitting there at the computer, and I'm like, oh yeah, they should go up in a little bit. I walked away, came back 2 hours later. I'm like, oh wait a minute, I was off an hour. Darn. So it was a. The thing is, I got the tickets.
You got it. You got them. You're in.
So, we're going to Nova for the very first time. And I've heard very good things about and I think it's their 10th anniversary, so it should be fun.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah. Sean, are you going to SoCal?
Yes.
You are? Okay.
Yes.
So that's your next big event then.
Okay. He has to or else he gets kicked off his team.
Yeah, pretty much.
I have the word that if you don't come to our stomping ground tournament, you're off the team.
We should say that you're part of the Relentless D team.
Yes.
Along with
which is SoCal based.
Yeah, SoCal.
We have our small offshoot here in Boise with the three of us. Yeah. But the majority of the team is in SoCal. So we all try to make SoCal and LBO every year that we can.
For sure. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So we're not Matt, your and I next big events will be Nova, and then yours is SoCal. Sean, awesome. All right. So, what are our takeaways from the Boise Cup, Sean? As players, what did you see? Is there anything that you thinking about as far as making adjustments, or do you think that there's? It's hard because the fall is running around the corner. Yeah, we have a fall FAQ coming out. We have a chapter approved a little bit like in November.
So to answer your question, I did it. The Dark Angels are shelved for a little while.
No way.
It's gotten to be too samey.
Yeah.
I've been playing around this army trying to make it work for way too long. And it has some fun stuff, but I realized a lot of my favorite parts of the list are the IG.
Interesting.
Why don't I just play IG? Right. And so after the tournament, I had a little bit of a rough tournament in terms of results. I had 4 incredibly close games. The largest game was against Adam in round 3, and that one was like an 8-point win. But every other game was decided by 2 points or less.
Yeah,
and
that makes for stressful.
I went 1-3, and then dropped on round 5 so that this dude that had a bye that flew in wouldn't have the bye. So I was like, I was like, I can help with running the tournament and stuff, right?
Yeah,
but like this guy flew in here, he shouldn't be just sitting around.
Yeah.
So I went 1-3 in the tournament. But I had really, really close games, and every game I felt like I had plays and I made plays. But then I just realized like I'm kind of over Dreadnoughts. Yeah. I'm over Samael and the Talon Master.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, so after the tournament I was talking to Brandon Grant about it and expressing I kind of just think I want to go to IG, and he just looks at me and goes, Sean, why don't you just steal my list and run that? Okay, Brandon, you gave me permission. I'm doing that.
So, and Brandon's not running a big thing anymore, is he? He's not running a big tank or anything?
No, it's IG. It's pure IG.
Pure IG?
Yeah. And it's a really fun list.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got everything I like. It's got Bulgrin. It's got bodies.
And you
it's got
have a big
tanks.
chunk of that already, because you've been slowly drifting from Marines to IG over this time.
All I had to pick up was 2 tank commanders and a Chimera.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
you had everything else?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that was
Pretty
easy
easy.
enough.
Oh, and 20 bodies. I need 20 more bodies. I haven't gotten
you
those
always
yet,
need more
but
bodies.
Yeah, those are easy.
No, you need to switch to Blood Angels. Haven't you heard? Blood Angels are the new hotness.
The new
Thomas
hotness.
going 5-0.
Yeah, which is impressive, incredibly impressive. But I'm done with Space Marines for a while.
Yeah.
I'm done feeling like my list or my army is but you're Space Marines, so you don't.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I think it's, even if you're, any army over time gets boring. And
totally.
you've been playing it since 8th dropped, really. Since, you know, and at some point you get kind of, it's nice to have multiple armies. So I played Eldar for a while, and I'm like, So now I'm into Knights, and now I'm switching more to AdMech. So my list is becoming more AdMech focused. I think eventually I'll drop the Knights, which is hard because the Knights are such an easy security blanket.
Yeah.
They really, really
They're
are.
warm and comfy.
They
That's
are.
what my Leviathans were
They
forever.
Are super. They don't take. I'm not saying I'm going to do it overnight, and
Yeah,
certainly not
yeah.
going to do it for Nova. But I don't think there's any problem with switching around.
No.
This is the
Bored of
genius of GW. Knights are like the gateway drug to the Imperium.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
here are these big, cool models. Oh, you like them? Well, what about this huge, expansive range of models, the entire Imperium selection that you can ally them with?
You need the assassins, but you don't want one. You want all 4.
Yeah.
So you have the option to choose
Oh, yeah,
whatever you
absolutely.
want.
They're
Absolutely.
great at the gateway drug.
They are.
Knights
and
and
the
Knights.
night, the Chaos Knights are going to be the same, I think. Chaos players are. All right, the Chaos Knight kit is awesome, except
Yes.
it does not have all the weapon options.
No.
And so
Which is a problem.
Which is kind of a problem. You wonder if they're going to have either a sprue that they release, or you're going to have to buy multiple kits if you really want that.
Or you do 3 third-party options, which is the last thing we want because that will create problems in tournaments for WYSIWYG.
Yep.
And it will create issues for GW because they do not want to see third-party bits on their models.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. I think the Chaos Knight chassis looks so freaking good, though, that
it's
I
amazing.
would probably take the time to make it, because I love the reverse pivot, the pivot leg in the back, the way it backs. It looks really good. I just wish it had all the options. It's unfortunate, but every Chaos player can go. Well, our friend Colin, he ran 2 Bloodthirster, Scarbrand, Morty, and Magnus.
Yes.
He's like, well, I can take everything there, just put 3 Knights in there, and basically run the same list, but it's easier
And pick up a bunch of points.
and pick up a bunch of points.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So
It'd
we'll
play
see.
way faster and wouldn't be dependent on the psychic phase.
No.
Wouldn't have a game where only one of his psychic powers went off and then he died.
That's it. I
Right,
just,
like,
that
yeah.
tightrope is really, really tough.
That is a feels bad. Playing an army that hinges on psychic powers and psychic powers don't go off. It is.
Yep.
It is the feel bads.
Well, that was when you played Yunari. It was like you're having to deal with warlock powers, which are the worst.
Yeah.
those suck because everything is a 7, and they have no safety net except Seer Council strat. But yeah. So I guess so. You're playing then, Sean. You're going straight guard
for a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I think my plan for Nova is I'm going to drop down to I'm not going to get rid of all 3 Knights. I'm going to do 2 Baby Knights, and I'll do 2 Warglaves or 2 Helverins. I'm not sure, and then the Questoris, and then fill out the AdMech. Right now, I've got the AdMech tanks that I bought and painted. So those are pretty good. So far, they've been really good in the test games I've been playing.
They're so good.
They're sitting on the table.
They're so under cost.
Well, it's indirect fire at Ballista Skill 3. You know, if you take the cannon, I'm like, that's probably worth it. It's
With
worth
the
it.
ability to get +2 ballistic skill for 1 CP.
Yep.
Oh,
and
yeah.
re-rolling ones.
Yep.
So like Eldar flyers, any negative to hit, modifier flyers, like
Yep. Actually, it's +2 because it comes with the data tab.
Yeah.
But then obviously it's 2 up still. But sweet.
so good.
Yeah,
But-
Matt, what are your plans for Nova?
Oh, I'm playing around with some stuff. Not quite sure what I'm bringing.
Okay.
At this juncture,
All right.
I'm super excited you're bringing a Knight because looking at the Nova format, it does not. See, that's the thing about ITC. ITC, if you bring 1 Knight, it kind of it's not optimal because people look at you and say like, I'm taking Kingslayer.
Yep.
Because Kingslayer, I just need to do 16 wounds to that thing. I don't even need to kill it.
And then it's going to be a character. So,
Yeah. In Nova, it doesn't give up points like that. If you bring more than one, you can give up max secondaries. But if you just bring one, it doesn't give up any secondaries.
It's bringing that to the same. Yeah.
So it is. One Knight is super good in Nova.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we'll see lots of Chaos Knights. However,
3 Chaos Knights and 60 Plague Bearers.
We need to
plan
get
on
Colin playing. Yeah, Colin could play that list.
Oh yeah,
we need to practice against it.
Only if somebody had some extra knights, that he could proxy.
Could probably do something about that. I really wanted to get a Valiant because I really love the idea of a Valiant, but I didn't have the time. I don't have the time to paint that because Nova's only about a month away at this point. So Cool. All right. So I think that's our Boise Cup recap. I mean, every year we have it. It's a really cool lead up to it. I think the only real if we keep it at 80 players, I think we can improve the tables and actually have pretty detailed terrain cards for all the different themes. And actually, I think that we could test drive the tables at League, and it would be. I mean, Aaron has already created most of the tables. It would require some of other people kind of step up and donate tables, but also help him write up those descriptions.
Yeah. Before we get it above 80 people for that event, because we also had a kill team event that had a decent little show. They want to add like Age of Sigmar next year and things like that to really make it a full encompassing GW event.
I think Age of Sigmar has enough support in the community and people locally, and also a lot of Aaron's friends play Age of Sigmar. They switched over, so
it's building slowly.
Yeah,
it's building slowly, and the numbers to get a GT for Age of Sigmar are almost nothing. It's like 20 people to get a GT for Age of Sigmar.
So we do 80 and 20, and actually that would be super awesome.
Yeah, major and a GT, a big major and a GT, small GT. I don't know if we're going to increase the 40K event to more than 80. There are some facility things that we need to discuss with the game store.
Yep.
But I think those things could get hashed out fairly easily, and once those facility things get kind of figured out, we'll be able to do that and do streaming this year. We just didn't have time to do streaming this year.
Yes, yeah, and so we streaming is something we've been trying to figure out for a while. We have a room to do it. We just need to start getting on that. So, all right, so that's our Boise Cup recap. Now let's jump into our main topic, and our main topic is basically overlooked units in 40K. And I don't actually know which ones you guys have picked.
Nope.
But for each one of these units, we're just going to talk about the stats and the profiles and weapons and some of the strats and powers and blah, blah, blah that could kind of affect them. And then, how's the unit best used and what can it do for your army? So we're going to just go around in a circle here, and let's start with you, Sean. What do you have? So what is an overlooked unit that you came up with?
Okay, so this overlooked unit comes from an overlooked army because most of the army is metal.
Oh, okay.
So you may be able to guess it's Sisters of Battle.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So Sisters of Battle have a really nasty fire base that you can run with Exorcists. So everybody generally knows that Exorcists are pretty good. Right? So for those of you that are not familiar with them, they are pretty much a Rhino chassis. Right? So except they're toughness 8. So that's a big break point.
Interesting. All right.
It's the piano on top.
It's
a Rhino with a piano.
The pipe organ.
The pipe organ.
The pipe organ gives it +1 toughness and +2 wounds, apparently. So we have T8, 12 wounds. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
And then the pipe organ is heavy D6, strength 8, AP -4, D6 damage.
Nice.
So
basically,
it's very random.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's highly random, and that's going to be the only thing about Exorcist that you can really knock down on them.
D6 shots.
Yeah, D6 shots with D6 damage. Right?
Yeah.
That has a theoretical possibility to do 36 damage. It also has a theoretical possibility to do like 2. So you're all over the place. But how do you balance out random chance? Well, you take 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then you take Celestine, and you take a Cannon S. So the big thing is, Celestine gives the bubble of the invuln save.
Yeah.
Right,
and what's her invul save? Is it 4?
Hers is a 4, yes, but the bubble that she gives
It's a 5?
is a 5.
Which is pretty good.
Because they already have a 6 up, and then it goes to a 5 up.
Yeah, okay. Got it. Okay.
And then you have the Warlord trait for a Canoness, because Celestine has her set one, you take a Canoness, and she has the Warlord trait, Indomitable Belief, which the invulnerable save friendly order units receive from the Shield of Faith abilities are improved to 5+, whilst they are within 6 inches of this Warlord. So now, the big thing about Celestine is that she doesn't give a 5, she just says your Shield of Faith ability is +1 better. So now, suddenly those Exorcists have a 4-up invulnerable save.
Okay.
And then, you take Vessel of the Emperor's Will, use a stratagem after a successful test of faith roll is made for an Adeptus Sortus character from your army. The act of faith used on that character affects all friendly Adeptus Sortus units within 6 inches of the character. Okay. And you use that with the +1 ballistic skill.
Interesting. So the BS2 then.
So that you have BS2, toughness 8, 12 wound, D6 shot, strength 8, AP4, D6 damage.
The Canoness let you reroll ones?
Yes.
Oh.
That reroll ones.
All right.
And for you, in terms of points,
No, from the index to the beta codex, they went from D3 damage, I think, to D6.
Yeah.
And I don't think they got a points increase.
Yeah. Yeah.
And oh, brother, I mean, I know people kind of shy away from them at times because their shots are random.
Yeah.
Which is always kind of the feel bad. So
Yeah. But
on
that's
something like that.
nice. All that support. That's pretty nice. And those are Melta shots, essentially. Those are really nasty.
Yeah, and they're 125 points each.
Wow.
A T8 vehicle with 12 wounds and that much firepower
And the 4-up invul
is 125 points.
Because you only need the 4-up invul for turn 1 when you're kind of in your bubble, and then of course Celestine might jump out or do whatever.
Maybe.
But or she could be the countercharge unit, actually. That's actually really... It's nice to have a fire base because you need a countercharge, because if somebody comes in and charges, she just goes in and whacks them.
Absolutely.
So that's nice.
Brandon played against that at Boise Cup.
Yeah.
And the guy had those 3 and then just a blob of sisters. And those, all these sisters are sitting up 4-up invulns. And so it was very, very effective. Brandon was like, outside of Rich Kelton, that was the closest game I played all tournament.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that little fire base. That's cool.
And watching that game was something else because again, I was bored off my butt. I mean, because there's no questions in 8th edition really. Everything's pretty clear cut. Watching that guy that I think his name was Colby.
Yep.
With that sister's army, he was able to keep that game neck and neck with Brandon Grant because he was shutting Brandon out of an entire table quarter.
Yeah.
So Brandon was not able to get recon any of his turns. And because he was just able to shut him out with all of his sister bodies and all of that firepower, he was able to hold him off. It was really interesting to watch.
That's cool. Yeah. To shut Brandon Grant out of a recon point, it's got to be. You got to be.
Guy played
good.
well.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice. All right. So Exorcist, and also, and when the Plastic Sisters come out, I mean, there's just going to be so many. They're just such a great. And once you go down the path of Imperium, it's like chaos. It's just a deep hole.
Oh yeah.
So like that in itself, that nice little thing right there, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's tasty. Cool. All right, Matt, what do you got?
Let's talk about the angriest man in the 41st millennia, or the angriest demon in the 41st millennia, Mr. Scarbrand.
Oh, you took one of mine.
Yeah.
I'm glad I brought that one too.
Scarbrand, okay? He's a very angry man. I mean, you would be angry too if you picked a fight with Khorne and he pummeled you and ripped your wings and, you lost the ability to fly. So, Mr. Scarbrand, he is toughness 7, 16 wounds. He has 8 attacks. Nope. He does the thing where he gets more attacks the less wounds he has.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. He has 6 attacks at top profile, can be buffed up to 8, which is all great and grand. He only moves 8 inches, because Khorne really messed up his wings, But here's the thing. He has he's one of the few units in the game that can stop units from falling back. Okay.
Yeah.
He has
Dark Eldar witches are one, but that's another, and he's big.
He's big. So he has an ability called Rage Embodied. All units, friend or foe, within 8 inches of Scarbrand, Khorne, 8, do not take morale tests. So one other thing to this, if you put him near Plague Bearers,
they don't take morale.
The Plague Bearers do not take morale.
Interesting.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, to play against for sure. And add one to their attacks characteristics. Furthermore, any unit that wishes to fall back while within 8 inches of Scarbrand must first roll 3d6. If the total is greater than the highest leadership characteristics in that unit, it cannot fall back that turn. So, keeping in mind on 3d6, I mean, the average leadership and think the game is like a
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think somebody ran the math and they said it's something like an 80% chance or something around
yeah.
there
To fail.
to fail.
Yep.
I mean, it's very likely that you will not be able to fall back. His sixes and the attack phase explode like a regular bloodthirster. It's great.
Yeah.
He's really good, and I think he's really underused. I think he's 40 more points than a normal bloodthirster.
Yeah.
But I feel he's worth it. The only bad side to him, though, is that with only an 8-inch move, you're kind of relegated to him being. You have to use the CP to deep strike him.
Yeah.
Because him making that trudge across the board with a 5-up invul,
Yeah, he'll just get shot.
and T7, he'll just
assume he deep strikes and does his thing.
Yep.
yeah.
But he's such a disruptor. It's just so does he doesn't have fly though.
He does not have fly.
Okay.
So one thing though that I'll point out about him, we talked about the Plague Bears gaining Fearless. Giving an extra attack to Plague Bears actually makes them not as ignorable in combat either, because they've got plague weapons, so they're getting the rerolls of ones.
Plague weapons are gross,
and so you're doubling the number of attacks they get. I think they're just one base attack. They might be two though. I don't play Chaos as much as I play Dark Angels.
Yeah.
So I can make that joke. You can't make that joke. That's my joke.
It took me a second. It took me a couple beats to get to that. Keep going.
Suddenly your Plague Bears actually become appreciable infantry clearing.
Yeah.
When they pick up that extra attack, they're toughness 4. They have the feel no pain. You can get them stuck in with stuff, and then they'll actually kill it.
Yeah, and they're just obnoxious to stay around anyways.
Yeah.
So you just give them a little bit of teeth, and then you can charge with them.
So and he makes foes fearless as well. So
Yes.
So if he goes into a unit, because he does like 14 sweeping attacks right off the bat.
Yeah.
I mean, that are it's strength 7, neg 2, 1 damage. That'll clear a horde. That'll clear a horde unit pretty quickly. If there's only 2 of those things left, guess what? They're not running.
Yeah.
And he can stick in combat with them, especially if they have like leadership 6 or 7 and they can't fall back. So they're not going to run because they're fearless. And it's going to be hard for them to fall back. He's not going to get shot that turn.
Yeah.
Super duper cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And also he can pin things down and other things come in and finish them off too. And that's the cool thing about Scarbrand. So awesome. All right. So my unit is the Cataphren Breachers. Now you see a lot of
Homer. That's your army. That's my Homer.
Yeah. For sure. So you see a lot of AdMech armies with Cataphren Destroyers, and there's a reason why you see Cataphren Destroyers, because they have really nasty plasma, and the Servitor detachment and Vigilus has made them really, really good. But I like Breachers, and the Cataphren Breacher, it's the little tracked guys, and I give them the arc rifles. They're 30 points each, so a squad of 3 is 90. They are T5, strength 5. They have 3 wounds each and a 3-up save, and a 6-up invul. So it's the 3 wounds in the T5 that make them kind of interesting. So the Cataphren Breachers, basically, for 90 points, you get this little model. It's actually kind of a big model though, because it's on a dreadnought sized base. I mean, it's a big sized base. So it takes up
50. Is that was on a?
It's on a 60.
It's 60. Yeah,
60.
Yeah, and so it takes up space. So you take 3 of them, you pretty much can block off most walkways or alleyways. And what they're really good for is the T5 is not easy to chew through. So if you have 3 of them, I think if you have 30 orc boys charging them, it's dicey whether you kill it. You might have a wound left, and with 3, they're not really going to suffer any kind of leadership penalties. They work really good as speed bumps, and in an army where you're trying to keep really nasty close combat units off you, they can do the job. So 3 of them can probably hold up against 30 orc boys, maybe. Kind of goes back and forth. But 4 of them, you're going to have 1 left, even if that orc boy unit is charged up. Aberrants, forget it. Nothing stands up to Aberrants. Let's just just say that right off the bat. But Gene Stealers, some of the more fast sort of assaulty units that most armies have multiple ones of, a unit of 3 Breachers can do a lot of work because it just kind of holds up. The other thing about them is, oftentimes I might use them as engineers, or I might just stand them on an objective, but actually their weapons aren't bad. So I give them the heavy arc rifle. It's 36 inches, which is nice. 2 shots. The thing about Cataphrons is they're only ballistic skill 4, so that's definitely a weakness. But 2 shots, strength 6, -2, D3 damage, but when it attacks a vehicle, it's D6. Most vehicles you're going to wound on 5s. but you only need a couple to punch through. That D6 damage can get really, really nasty. And you're seeing a lot more vehicles now, just around in games, because with a Castellan gone, you actually see vehicles again.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there's always a place for the Cataphron Breachers. The thing that I love the most about them, though, is they are infantry. They are infantry, meaning they can go through walls, they can go into ruins. They're basically just infantry models that everyone goes, those aren't vehicles. Nope, they're infantry.
Yep.
They look like they should be vehicles.
Yeah, especially on that base.
On the base with the treads, but they're actual infantry models. So the way I really like them is that they are very tough screens. They're not even screens; they're more like blocks. They're good for move blocking, but they have some punch to them too, especially when your opponent has vehicles. So I think in the last game I had 6 of them. I had 2 units of 3, and an Eldar Flyer came up and shot at it and maybe killed one. It wasn't very many, but you can use the Canticles or the Omniscia to reroll 1s, and I shot at the Eldar Flyer, and I was hitting on. I moved into range with it, but I was hitting on I think 5s, but I was rerolling 1s, and it only took a couple shots to get through, and that Flyer was gone because it was a 6 and a 5 damage or something. That doesn't always happen, but I don't usually count on their shooting for the most part, anyways. So.
Yeah. Did you talk about the Shroud Psalm and giving them 2?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing too. With the first canonical of most AdMech is Shroud Psalm. So Shroud Psalm gives you cover. So you basically have T5, 2-up save.
It's annoying. It's annoying to move that
with 3 wounds each.
Yeah.
Yep.
And actually, if you really want to get cheeky with it, you could give them if they were Lucius, Forge World Lucius. Lucius ignores -1 AP. So you have to get to -2 AP on your weapons to actually do something against them. So like against smart missile systems, unless they have what's the thing that gives them the extra AP value on this? Smart missiles are normally no AP though.
the advanced targeting system.
But it's still does they get them to -1 or -2?
-1.
-1. So yeah, it doesn't matter. So you're trying to dig these guys out of cover, and they're 2-up saves, or they're Shroud Psalm, they're 2-up saves. So you can make them even more durable than they are, and they just become annoying.
Yep.
I will wag my finger and straighten my glasses. Well, actually, smart missiles would still make them a 3-up armor save because smart missiles ignore cover.
Oh,
Shroud Psalm is cover. I'm wagging my finger.
That is actually correct. So they still get the 3-up save.
Yeah, they're upset, but it's still super good. T5, 2-up save, 3 wounds, super annoying to move.
Yep.
Keeping in mind, there's also a forge roll that lets you recycle them. Now we need to caveat that for a second. I think this was one of AdMech was like the 3rd codex out the gate, 3rd or 4th.
Yep.
Because it went Space Marines, Grey Knights, Chaos Space Marines, and AdMech. Right?
Yeah.
And it was one of the first recycle, I get all these units back that
I think
paid
Eldar
for.
was beforehand, but AdMech was
Eldar before? I think Eldar was afterwards. Anyways, the recycle stratagem, it's not as good as some of the other ones because it's variable on the size of the breacher unit.
Yeah.
And they have to come back. In your deployment zone and things like that. But
it's by power level. Yeah, so if you take it's
based on power
Agrippina.
level.
Is it refreshing or replacing?
Well, let's read it. It's Agrippina.
You have
It's
to have one. You
Agrippina
have to have
strat.
one left, I think.
So first of all, they have to have Agrippina. So pick one of your units of servitors, which you wouldn't use, destroyers, or breachers. You can spend 1 CP and choose a unit with a power rating of 5 or less. Which
okay.
They're not 5 or less. You spend 2 CPs and it's 10 or less. So I think they're actually 8. So you have to spend 3 or 2. So you spend 2 CP for a unit of 3 breachers. Remove your chosen unit from the battlefield. You can set it up again as you would a unit arriving from reinforcements. Set up the unit in your deployment zone within 6 inches of the edge and more than 9 inches away from enemy models at its full starting strength. So the unit still has to exist. It's going to take 2 CP to recycle a unit of 3 breachers. But, it's kind of nice because you stop them, they're a road bump, you have 1 left. After getting charged by something, you go, I'm going to go ahead and recycle these and put them back.
Yeah, and there's a 3 CP level,
3
right?
CP for if you have, if it's 15 power level or more.
Because you'd want to use that bad boy on a full strength unit to really get the bang for your CP buck on that one. Yep. So, it's spendy. I've never seen it used in a game.
Yeah. Ben, our friend Ben Cromwell, he had a mixed Forge Rolled. And the thing about AdMech is the Forge Rolled bonuses are not that great.
Yeah.
So you use it for the strats. Styges isn't bad, but he had one that was Agrippina, and he did it exactly for that reason. He just recycled them if he needed to. So, so Cataphron Breachers.
Awesome.
Right. Sean, what do you got next?
My next one. So you already brought up vehicles coming back. This one is definitely. I think these are starting to be seen a little bit more, but I'm still not seeing a ton of IG lists with them. The Chimera is back.
The Chimera, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and I've always loved my mechanized lists. I've wanted to play them the entire time that I've played 40K. For most of 8th, mechanized transport lists have just been bad.
Yeah.
Because they just blow up. Well, now that we're starting to see vehicles on the table a lot more, the Chimera has a lot of, I don't necessarily want to call it hidden value, but you might not be thinking about what you can do with it.
Yeah.
Because with the new Vigilus detachment, the Emperor's Blade Assault Company, there is a stratagem that you can move your Chimera, and then at the end of the movement phase, pop the stratagem, and a unit gets out. That unit cannot move further in the phase, so they can't move, and they count as moving.
Yeah.
But they're able to hop out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So what that allows me to do is, let's say that I have a Chimera move up, and the unit pops out, and I pop out the unit, and then I trail 2 guys back, and I placed another unit to join. Right behind them.
Yeah.
At the end of the movement phase as well, now they're out there. At the end of the movement phase, I can now combine squads.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you have 20 Catachans. Because honestly, I'd highly recommend this for Catachan if you're looking at other stuff. Maybe not this. But now you have 20 Catachans that are going to be buffed with all my characters behind them that suddenly have a lot larger of a charge range than you thought they did.
Yeah, and a huge footprint too.
Yeah,
you just expanded out your,
absolutely.
your board presence.
It's a massive amount of board just access to get guys places.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is they have a 1-point CP that if you charge a unit, a Chimera or a Torox, and I was debating Toroxes are actually pretty cheap, but a Chimera or a Torox can actually fire at the unit that's charging. They get like kind of for the greater good for one of the transports.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's within 6 inches of the unit, and then they hit on 4s. So Brandon is the one that really got me onto this idea. But he runs them with twin heavy flamers, because after dropping off the units, it's still running around with twin heavy flamers on a toughness 7, 10 wound 3 up vehicle for 88 points. Yeah. So you're still running around flaming stuff, and then if they charge your infantry and your Chimera is close enough and within range, you just go, okay, well, take 2 heavy flamers. Yeah. The hitting on 4s doesn't really matter for the strat, but and in terms of in an IG list, they also work really well when you look at the context of the list around them, where you're gonna have Bulgrin, you're gonna have tank commanders, you're probably gonna have at least 1 Wyvern. Yeah. So it's just armor saturation. At that point. Yeah. And Chimeras and Rhinos and Torox, they're great for charging units and soaking Overwatch.
That's what I love
just
about
tying
this
up stuff.
The vehicles are so useful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like, oh, there's a massive unit of witches over there. Okay, I charge you with a Chimera.
Yeah.
You're stuck there for a little while. I'm going to go take care of other stuff, or have my Catachans now catch up and punch your witches to death. Whatever it may be. Yeah. So
That's
lots
awesome.
of fun.
Yeah, I was watching a battle report, and somebody was using a Skyray, and the Skyray, famously for Tau, they unlaunch everything off, and then it feels like, well, the Skyray can't do anything. The Skyray is super useful.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Big vehicle that, like you said, you can go in, you can touch things, you can bump things, you can move block. I mean, there's things in this edition, vehicles especially, because they're kind of tough and they have big footprints. They're so good for move blocking and absorbing Overwatch and all that kind of stuff.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
Nice. All right, Matt, what do you got?
Why are you guys doing all the Imperium stuff?
I warned you that was going to be an issue with me.
It's put me into a corner here. Yeah. Okay. So, the Custode Caladius Grav Tank, okay? I think it's an understated unit.
It's not seen in any list whatsoever.
It's rare. It's a Forge World unit. It's not something you hear too much about.
Yeah, you don't hear about Caladiuses. You don't.
For those of you that are not familiar, the Caladius is the new Imperium unit. 3 of them in
that will not last much longer.
Yeah.
we can hope it, because it's pretty oppressive. It's pretty terrible for the meta. But it's not Castellan bad, but so I will go another direction. I'm joking about that. An underrated unit. No, I will go completely off the beaten path of this one, and I'm talking about fortifications. Fortifications are so underrated.
Okay. I like it.
Now, I will toot my own horn. I've been taking fortifications for a very long time.
Yeah.
For good reasons and bad reasons. One, if you bring a fortification, I'm primarily going to talk about the Imperial Bunker and the Plasma Obliterator, mostly because they have the same profile. They're T9 with 20 wounds. Yes, they are toughness 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for clarity, it's the Imperial Bastion. There is an Imperial Bunker that's a different model. The Bastion.
The Bastion and the Plasma Obliterator.
Yep.
T9, 20 wounds. One has heavy bolters and is easy to find. The other one has a Plasma Obliterator, 2d6, strength 8, nig 3, 2 damage cannon.
Yep.
That is 2 points less and near impossible to find because it was a limited run. A limited run model. So yeah, they are great for a multitude of reasons. I used to take them because I would go to tournaments that had no terrain.
Yeah.
And when you're running Eldar and you have no terrain, it's a really big sat face.
Yeah.
So not only are they a huge footprint to be able to hide models behind and block line of sight, it's a great thing to hold things in because these bad boys hold 20 models. 20 a unit, one unit, and then as many
characters.
As many characters as you want.
Oh, really? Okay.
So you can just pad everybody in there, and I loved it because it really lowered my drop rate. I think my drop rate was down to like 7 with my Eldar list. And it was crazy. It was crazy. And the thing never died. My Plasma Obliterator never died, except to like, I think 7 Malefic Lords dropped it one time.
I think you had like Dragoons run in and did all their stuff. There was like 6 of those Dragoons with the tasers.
Yeah.
But it's rare. It's super rare.
Very rare.
Really rare. A lot of effort has to go into
especially now
this.
that the Castellan's gone.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And things can sit in that Plasma Obliterator or that Bastion and just fire.
Yeah.
I think they're 100 it's been a while. It's like 180 and 182 points. Bastion is 182. I think the Plasma Obliterator is 180.
Yep.
Really cheap for how durable it is and how it can lower your drop rate. Things can sit in there and just fire. You're starting to see them come back a little bit more. Devastators can go in there and just shoot all their bolter shots.
Yep.
All of their bolter shots.
Yep.
Seen a big units with big units of like the AdMech, not the breachers,
the destroyers,
destroyers with their plasma just sitting there and just fire away.
Oh my god, I didn't even think that they could get in there.
Yeah,
oh, that's
they can.
great.
Because they're infantry.
They're infantry. They're
a metal box full of clanky robots.
Yeah, they're infantry. Yeah, you don't think it with the tracks. If you have, and I used to use it for Dark Reapers a lot. Let's be honest.
Oh no, that's absolutely why you.
And back in the day when you could deep strike them down and then fire and you shoot them again, then fire and fade them into a toughness 9, 20 wound Bastion. It was kind of the feel bads a little bit, but they can protect units really well because toughness 9 is a break point.
Yeah,
is a really annoying break point. Even last cannons are wounding them on 4s.
How much is a Bastion?
180. Bastion is 182.
Okay. So it's basically a significant investment, but if you've got a unit that you do not want to be killed turn 1 and you know it has to do something, it totally makes sense.
Yeah. And I preach if you can find them, the Plasma Obliterators, because the footprint of a Plasma Obliterator is huge.
Yeah.
Okay? And it cannot be, it's so huge that it is hard to wrap and trap. So you would need like a full strength unit of Gene Stealers to be able to get all the way around that thing.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they'd be able to kill it in one turn.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 turns of combat.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And even if they don't kill it and they're engaged with it, the fortification rule lets things shoot at it anyways.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot lock one in combat and not be fired.
And they can actually shoot out of it.
Yep.
Well,
That's actually kind of cool.
You can shoot out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, even the building can shoot at it.
Yeah.
I mean, fortifications are great. And they're not used a lot. There's cheaper versions, the Imperial Bunker, which
not
is
as good.
It's not quite as good. It's only like 100-ish points.
Yeah.
But it's T8, 14,
10 wounds or
12, 14 wounds from there. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
not
okay.
that great.
Cool.
So, and to go another way with that, Mike, the local, was using a Bastion quite a bit for a while with his Tyranids because he was using it as he'd deploy it right on the line with a unit of Kraken Gene Stealers in it.
Yeah.
And then the Kraken Gene Stealers would get out of it and would get all the extended move range from disembarking from the fortification. And then they'd go do their Kraken thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, just there are a lot of different ways you can use it, not just for shooting.
Yeah.
You know, that same idea of disembarking and then charging, that's why Rich Kilton had one truck in his list.
Yeah.
Because turn one, he has a Orc Boy unit get out, 10 boy unit, get out of that truck, get those 4 inches roughly, and then move forward, advance, and then have a unit come in behind them and just mob up.
Yeah.
And suddenly, orcs are realistically able to get, across the
table. Yeah, and he's just covering the board at that point. Nice. Yeah.
And funny enough about fortifications, I just had a teammate who had a list denied from a tournament. The TO said, no, you can't play that list in my tournament.
Why?
Because according to the TO, it broke the spirit of the game. He was using a different fortification, the Forge-Rolled Imperial Fortress.
Oh.
Because it's a modular fortress.
The Necron thing. Are you talking about the Necron city?
No. The Imperial Fortress out of the it's toughness 10, and then you can add walls and gates and towers to it. You can just build it however you want. It's a modular set. He had a fortress that's one model that was toughness 10, 120 wounds.
Yeah, I wouldn't allow that either.
That just makes me laugh.
That is
makes me laugh.
That is digging deep. Oh yeah.
So that list has been denied. So he has another fortification list that he's going to try to get.
That's funny. All right, so let's switch back to Xenos here, since we talked about Imperium. And this is based on the person who actually mentioned in our Discord chat. Knockham, if you're listening, this is for you. So he mentioned Reavers. And he's actually correct that Reavers are super useful, and you can create some mortal wounds. We talked about Dark Eldar having a little bit of sources of mortal wounds here and there, but the Reaver jet bikes, they're T4. They only have 2 wounds. They have a 4-up save. They die real easily. They don't have any sort of... They have no... That's all they have. Yeah. So they die quick. However, what they do is... for every 3 models in a unit, you can give them a blaster or a heat lance, and both of those are assault. The Reavers move 18 inches. You can give them grav talons. So basically, every 3 models can take a grav talon. So you take Reavers, and you can actually take 12 if you wanted to get nuts. Yep. 12 of them, which means you have 4 grav talons, which is 4 chances to cause mortal wounds, or 4 blasters, or usually heat lances are fine, but usually you give them blasters. So
you don't give them heat lances.
No. Give them the blasters.
The Reavers move 18. They also can advance and move 8 inches in addition to that. So their move is really ridiculous.
Their auto advance is 8?
Their auto advance is 8. You make Cult of Red.
Know that.
Get Cult of Red Grief. Means they can advance and charge.
Yep.
They're assault weapons, so they're -1 to hit. But really, you're not really relying on the blasters to do much. And they're actually decent in close combat as well. So
just to add on to the movement before we move on to the movement, if you really wanted to make a unit that really got up the board,
are you going to give them combat drugs?
You can give them Hypex, which is a combat drug. It adds +2, so they move 20 base plus their auto advanced 8.
So 28 inches.
So 28-inch move.
Yeah,
plus a charge. The big thing here for me is that's just a really nice finesse unit.
Yeah.
In that you can do some really surprising things. I mean, it's another reason why Helldrakes get picked. Because Helldrakes just move really far and then they charge stuff.
Yeah.
Using Reavers to tie up something that definitely does not want to be tied up.
Yeah.
Or, to isolate a corner of the board. We're like, oh, you actually don't have anything that can peel me off of something. Whee! And then I'm over there. So, yeah.
The other thing, too, is you can use a strat of this rating flyby. And so when a Witch Cult unit with fly advances, if it moves over enemy units this phase, choose one of the enemy units and on a d6 you add one of the result. If it's infantry, each roll of a 6 the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. So you roll a d6 for every model in the unit.
Yep. And it's a 5 for infantry. It's only 1 CP is the big thing. And it is not limited to how many things. So if you go over a unit of 30 plague bearers, 30 boys, 30 infantry, you get to drop 30 dice.
Yeah,
I had forgotten that it's based on the target, on the unit being
and there's no
yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, so they're really good.
Plus
at
your grab talons, you're also getting the grab talons
and the grab talons. So it's nice to kind of clear some stuff out, and I think that's why I dismiss it often because, and I have a bunch of them, is that they're fragile. However, there's ways around fragility, and especially there are bikes with fly. You can put them in buildings. You can do certain things with. You could put them in ruins, not buildings. Sorry, you could put them in ruins, and so you can kind of keep them safe. You can hide them behind terrain, but they're really, really good when they jump out because they can do a lot of mortal wounds on just a flyover for 1 CP.
Yep.
So, that is to me they're underused units, and they look super cool. They're one of the original updated jet bike designs for Drukhari, and I think they look awesome. So if you've got them, run them.
Yep.
All right, Sean, what do you got?
So this is less of a specific unit and more me throwing out the call to Tau players. It's okay to get away from the Riptide Ball.
What?
Yeah, I know. You're still gonna have a Riptide or two in it, most likely.
Yeah.
But mechanized Tau is back. It is back. A few ion cannon hammerheads.
Interesting.
Like
okay.
2 sky rays. I've been seeing lists like this, like 2 ion hammerheads, 2 sky rays, and then some devilfish.
Interesting. Okay.
And then like a few like 1 or 2 riptides, because you are going to throw that in there. But yeah, suddenly your list becomes a lot more interesting to me.
Mechanized Tau list,
because now you actually have that ability to fly, to use models to block chargers, right? Because those devilfish are like, okay, well, I'm here, like, I'm still a 12 wound vehicle at toughness 7.
Yep.
So I just in general, I would point out that that's actually a really good way to move now, because again, vehicles are in a good spot right now.
Basically hammerheads and sky rays, the tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, the sky rays can really mess up flyers. They really can. And then, you already sold them, which was, was fun for me. I was like, oh, hey, he's teasing one that I have. And then the ion cannon hammerheads are actually really, really good value.
Especially with long strike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You take long strike in there.
Yeah.
And so, like flat 3 damage is good. I really like flat 3 damage. And so I'm just throwing that one out there as a, just kind of an archetype in general. We've talked about Tau and how, honestly, Tau, one of the biggest issues is that all their lists kind of play the same. They set up somewhere and then they stay there. Yeah. Well, when you have that many vehicles, your Tau list can go, no, we're going to be over here now. Yeah. If we need to be. Yeah. And so, highly recommend.
Nice. It's so funny. So we did not collaborate before we talked about this, but we're talking about vehicles often, several vehicles here. So, I mentioned the breachers. The why I like them is because they actually deal extra damage to vehicles. Yeah. But with the Castell or the Castellan. Geez. Yeah. With the loss of the Castellan. Yeah. Not the loss of it. When you see less of them,
it's still there. It's still in the codex.
It's just 700 points.
I played against one at Boise Cup. So.
I've actually thought about it. Now it's like, well, people won't be expecting this.
That was funny when we saw Adam from TFG had that Castellan. Like, oh, Adam, where'd you find a time machine to 6 months ago to find an army?
Well, you heard what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
Their challenge.
Their night challenge, yeah.
They all took the same list to tournaments to see who would do the best and who would do the worst with that list. Yeah. And so they all took that list to tournaments.
So it was a bet. It was not a bet. It was it was a bet. So. Yeah. But yeah.
Gosh. Oh, just real quick, with that Tau mechanized army list is that there's a lot of opportunity for seeker missiles.
Oh yeah, list. Absolutely. Yeah.
And seeker missiles are one of the things that's kind of overlooked. It's the part of the marker light table that people are like, 1 or 5. I need 1 or 5. The rest of it's garbage. Is it? Because ignoring cover is pretty helpful, and so are those seeker missiles, because those seeker missiles can do work.
Yeah. Yes.
Especially with the sky rays and things like that.
I am going to jump back onto the Eldar now, and actually, this is Matt. This is a unit that you. I used to run these all the time. And I love these things.
No, don't do it. You've done so well. You haven't mentioned their name in a long time.
They're not the D cannons. What were you thinking?
Banshees?
No.
Okay. Okay. You were worrying me.
No, not Banshees.
You tried to make Banshees work for the longest time.
He tried so hard.
I did.
He tried so hard.
I think it doesn't matter. Anyways,
I think you'd actually do better with them now. You're a much better player in terms of assault positioning.
True. But I think I feel like I am. Yeah. If I ever go back to Eldar, we'll see. Anyways, support weapons. In the last edition, I love the little D cannons. And I have 3 of them because, you ran them as D cannons. But you don't really run them as D cannons now because D cannons are only 24 inches. Mm-hmm. However, you run them as Shadow Weavers. And Shadow Weavers have a 48 inches. So in other words, they have the board. And also, you can, basically, it's indirect fire. Now, what's great about them is they're cheap. They're like 32
or 33.
They're 32 points. They're T5, 5 wounds, which makes them obnoxious to kill. And they have a 4-up
Yep.
save. 4-up save's not that great, but at
Put
the
'em
same
in cover.
time, you put them in cover. They're out of line of sight. They're basically just they're also heavy support choice as well. So their shot to Shadow Weaver is D6 shots, strength 6, no AP, 1 damage, but on a wound roll of 6, it's AP -4. So really, they're 30 points. You set them down kind of out of line of sight, and you have some indirect fire, and you can kind of plink away at stuff. They're not going to do a whole lot for you, but they don't die, and they're actually a nice way to kind of build out a little mini fire base. So they're super cheap at 30 points, and they're a single drop, because you drop them and you can kind of split them apart, right?
Yep.
So you see Night Spinners now coming back. You see a lot of Night Spinners coming back. I kind of think the support weapons are even the cheaper version of it, and they actually work really well in an Eldar list. So, and of course, you can have Autarchs to reroll ones, but I don't actually think you need to support them that much. I think you just kind of leave them tucked in a corner and let them sit on an objective and be annoying.
No, totally.
Yeah, they and there's a stratagem where you can let 2 of them like reroll like to wound or something like that for 1 CP, like Vol's Wrath or something like that, the Wrath of Vol or something like that. But I mean, they're definitely viable. Before Chapter Approved, they were just way too expensive.
Yeah, and it's in Chapter Approved, all these cheap points. Oh yeah, Vol's Might. Use the stratagem in the shooting pace. If a support weapon of your army within 6 inches of another, you can reroll wound rolls of 1 made for both support weapons for the rest of that phase. So that's not bad on it, because the 6 to wound is AP -4. And of course, if that target is doomed for some other reason, it can actually knock some stuff out of buildings.
Yeah,
What's the strength on the gun? On the
6.
Six?
6.
Yeah.
6.
So,
And it's a good break point. I took 2 to LVO, and I was not disappointed with them because they could dig things out of boxes pretty because the things that are usually hiding in boxes like that are Nurglings and guardsmen and
Toughness
cultists
3,
and things.
Yeah.
So they wound
They're
them
always
on
gonna wound
twos,
on- yeah.
and they have a terrible armor save anyways.
Yeah.
So you can usually get through to that, so you can dig things out pretty easily. I was not unhappy with them.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. All right, Sean, what do you got?
Mark of Slaanesh Chaos Bikers.
Mark of Slaanesh Chaos Bikers. All right, tell me more.
So they get the bolter drill. So they're fast. You know, they're very fast.
Yeah.
They get the bolter drill, so they're always getting their 4 shots per.
Yeah.
And then because they're Mark of Slaanesh, you can double fire them.
Oh.
And
nice.
so the reason why I throw them out is because a lot of these Slaanesh Mark units that used to get double fire aren't seen anymore.
Yeah.
We're not seeing Obliterators with Mark of Slaanesh.
Yeah.
Really, we're not seeing Obliterators.
Yeah.
We're not seeing the Noise Marines, right? So there's this amazing stratagem that nobody's really using at this point. And then also you combine that with, we have tables full of models, full of, like Horde is back in a lot of ways. We're talking about vehicles are back. Well, Horde is just as much back.
Yeah.
And so having this unit that can move quickly, that can move around, and then if they really need to, just being able to go, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and, double shoot. And let's say that, especially a lot of these Chaos lists are running like Disco Lords and then Plague Bearers.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have any other target for Veterans of the Long War.
Yeah.
So you might as well use it on these Chaos Bikers, so not they're wounding most of those models on 2s.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing into orcs on 3s.
Yeah.
And so you're just putting out a ton of shots. They're only 23 points per bike. So, for call it 138 points, you can get
how many shots is
48 shots.
48 shots. That's
48 shots. That's the total. 48 shots with +1 to wound for like a 2 or 3 CP investment.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of mine where I'm like, I don't think you'll ever, or well, maybe not ever, but I don't think you'll see it in
it's a
competitive
screen clear
lists.
though. It's a screen clear. 48.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then you've still got all these options.
If it's in range of a Demon Prince or something to reroll the ones, that's really, really nasty.
Yeah, just overwhelm them with saves.
Yeah, very good. I like that.
Yeah.
Slaanesh, plus, how cool would it be to model those things?
Yeah,
There's a lot of conversion opportunity.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to use them as an example of where a lot of these kind of units come from. Sometimes it's more about seeing what awesome tools in a codex don't get used anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Because like double shoot used to be the chaos thing. I'm going to drop obliterators and double shoot them, or I'm going to use noise marines and double shoot them.
Yeah.
Well, now that you're not using it, okay, do you have a cheap way that you can use that tool? Do you have a cheap way to bring that back into the army with the shifting meta?
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Just a fun little option.
Love it. Okay, I think let's go with one more. Matt, what do you got?
So I think we saw him at the start of the edition, not so much more now. The Thunderfire Cannon.
I was going to bring that up, but I was doing too much Imperium, so I'm glad you brought it up.
I love the Thunderfire Cannon, and I'm amazed why we don't see more of it. It's a bit expensive. If it was like 10 points less, I think we'd see them more and more and more. So here's what a Thunderfire Cannon does, okay? It is, the other problem is it's like only Space Marines, only vanilla Space Marines can take it.
The one model that I wish I had the most in Dark Angels is the Thunderfire Cannon.
It's amazing. So here is why the Thunderfire Cannon is so good. Now it's like 93 points, I think. But it is a toughness 6 artillery piece. Okay. With 4 wounds, it comes with a single Tech Marine gunner who can repair it. Okay. Which is awesome. It has a 3-up save, but it's going to be in cover most of the time, so you're going to get a 2-up save.
Let me just double check that. Do you have the data sheet open? Does it have the vehicle keyword on the Thunderfire?
The Thunderfire Cannon,
because it has the artillery keyword, but
artillery and vehicle.
Okay, yeah, totally can repair.
He can repair it. So. And the Tech Marine Gunner is not really a slouch in close combat either.
No, because he comes with a turbo harness.
You don't want to run into him in a dark alley. The Thunderfire Cannon has a 60-inch range.
So the board
6-0, 5
which is
feet.
Big for Marines. Most everything on Marines taps out at 48.
And one of the best strengths, when I say best, most optimal, mathematically most optimal is strength 5. The Thunderfire Cannon, its main gun is strength 5 neg-1, which is a great profile. Wait, there's more. Okay. The shot profile is heavy 4d3. That is really efficient. Having, instead of...
It's D3 versus D6.
D3 versus D6, it's much more reliable. If it was like heavy 2d6, I would like heavy D. I will take heavy 4D3 over heavy D6
8
over
shots average, basically.
any day of the week. So it sits in the back. It's a nice objective camper. It's hard. It's usually out of line of sight. Your opponent is not gonna want to deal with it. Let's add the final thing to it. There is a stratagem with it called Tremor Shells. Okay? It is only 1 CP. Now, I don't know why they added this whole -1 from all the wound rolls on it. So use a stratagem when a Thunderfire Cannon is selected to attack in the shooting phase. Subtract 1 from all the wound rolls made when firing the Thunderfire Cannon this phase. But if the target hits, that's the important thing. It just has to hit the target once.
Doesn't have to kill one.
And it
with all those shots, it's going to hit.
And it's BS3, and it's probably going to be re-rolling ones. Let's be honest, because Space Marine lists have captains. Then during the next turn, have the movement characteristic and the result of any advance and charge rolls made for that unit that you were shooting at. Tremor Shells has no effect on Titanic units and units that can fly. It halves everything. Movement, advance, charge on a unit of like Orc Boys. Bulgrin. It just has to hit them. It does not have to wound them at all.
That's a good point. So all those big Bulgrins, Grotesques, the big beefy units that sort of claim the middle of the board, you slow them way down. Because what's the Bulgrin's movement?
5. No, 6.
6. So go down to 3. It's not going anywhere. They're going nowhere.
And they're almost always advanced. Like Bulgrin are almost always advanced.
Unless it's that turn where you're charging. You're advancing them.
And Plague Bears, because like a lot of those units, their objective is to get to the center of the board first and bully said center of board. I want to be here first, type thing. If you can stop them from getting to even the middle of the board to camp that, huge advantage for you. And blocking out things, and it really slows up the characters too, because the Demon Princes are...
Suddenly the screens are slowing down, so everything that's being screened has to slow down.
Interesting.
Lots of value.
Especially Plague Bears.
The IG can do something similar with the Wyvern. The Wyvern it's almost the same exact strat, but the Thunderfire actually gets to fire. The Wyvern doesn't get a fire, but the Wyvern it just replaces its firing. The Wyvern has the benefit, though, it can just pick any unit.
Is it the
It doesn't have to shoot at it.
Is it the Vigilus?
Yeah, the Vigilus strat. But I used it a ton because I played against 2 lists that had Blightlord Terminators that I couldn't shoot at. So I'm like, well, I can't handle them. So you know what? Those Blightlords move 2 inches.
Out of spite.
Right. Like you're not getting close to me. You slow down.
I don't want to kill them. I'm just going to basically pick them out of the game for the turn.
I'll handle them at some point.
Nice.
So I very much love the Thunderfire, and bonus unit. I was actually going to bring up servitors as just like super cheap objective
servitors,
campers. Campers. They're 4 models. You get 4 models in a unit. They're 5 points per model.
Yeah,
and they come with a servo arm, which is hilarious for me for those 5 points. But they're toughness 4. They have a 4-up save, so if you put them in cover, they're a 3-up. And then it's just they're really, really cheap slot fillers for Space Marines
because they're elite choices, right?
Yeah, they're elites. So a lot of the times, Space Marines want to take like a Vanguard, and they don't actually want 3 elites. Well, just throw 20 points of servitors in there, and then they get to camp out.
Yeah,
if you really want to, give them some shooting weapons and then stick them next to the Tech Marine. Yeah, because then they get ballistic skill 4.
But for the most part, they're cheap wounds.
Yeah, they're just cheap wounds that are they're toughness 4, 3-up save and cover. That's going to hang around for a little while for 20 points.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw it out.
In AdMech, I've been looking at servitors as well because of the with the Vigilance attachment with with Cataphren, destroyers or breachers, you have master biosplicing, and you just take a servitor and you replace a Cataphren with it.
Yeah.
So that is really, really good. It's a warlord trait. So I'm like, I should probably take some servitors. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, these guys aren't bad.
No.
Especially if they're like a Styges and -1 to hit, they're just even that much more annoying, and you wouldn't have them in line of sight to get shot anyway.
Nope.
They'd just be hanging around to sit on an objective, or like you said, they're cheap slot fillers, or in the case of the AdMech's case, they're basically there to build. They're you're using them to replace units with. So, yeah.
I think it's telling that a majority of the units we brought up are Imperium, because they're just, the line is so massive.
Yes.
And it's hard to keep track of all of them, and especially the Forge World options and how that interacts with the house, the houses, and the chapters and things like that. I mean,
and the competitive mindset and kind of culture tends to narrow in on units like the Caladius, right? Yeah. For good reason.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, that they're amazing. But by narrowing in on those super optimal choices, there are like tons of choices that are just good that have something else that does the job that everybody goes, oh, well, you should build for that.
Yeah.
But, like the servitors, I saw a really, really awesome full Ravenwing army almost, because I had a few servitor units, but it was like a bunch of bikes and attack bikes and land speeders and dark talons. And then he had just servitors to hold objectives. Threw 20 points of servitors on that objective and said, okay, I'm not coming back for you. Bye. Hold down the fort. We're off over there. And so, it was really fun. And I had already considered servitors as for a Ravenwing army specifically, you need objective holders, but everything in your army wants to be going forward.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to spend scouts to have the scouts hanging out in the back screen, right?
Because 20 points gets you 4 servitors.
Yeah. And so instead just throw 60 points of servitors in, and then they just hold your objectives.
Because you don't want to build a fire base because you'll take away from what you're projecting forward. You want to have something back there to
need
hold
something.
Yeah. So, totally makes sense.
Well, and it just is so important to be looking at your codex, sitting down looking at your codex every, I would say like once a month, just with meta changes and things like that. So, for example, 3 Lord Discordance is becoming more and more popular because they are disgustingly good.
Yeah.
A thing like a Thunderfire cannon would wreck that because a Tremor Shell on a Lord Discordant will completely take away their initial strategy of this guy shoots up the board, this one guy that's the warlord that has all the special stuff that I'm able to move 40 some inches a turn or whatever and get into your lines. I am hitting that. Okay. And then they're like, okay, what do I do now? Now I have another slow chaos mech army. What? All right.
What I thought was special, it's now just
But this underutilized unit that not a lot of people take, that somebody found by looking at their codex, after meta shifts, it can turn some heads.
Definitely.
It can win you some games that you should lose on paper.
Yeah, don't be afraid to write weird lists. I wrote a Ravenwing list just to see if I could do it with like a unit of 6 land speeders with the missile launchers. Because I'm sitting there going, I could move. They all get a 4-up invuln if I advance them, and then I can, give them Speed of the Raven, and then I can give them +1 to hit from the Vigilist attachment. So I have 16 or 12 missile launcher shots, all hitting on 3.
That's not bad.
With 4-up invulns. It was just a little bit too expensive. Yeah. But it was really fun to write that list and go, okay, how would this play? How would this work? Yeah. So don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah, Mark, like writing your list with the 3 really underpriced tanks. That was kind of fun to work all that out, and send it to you half baked. Like, okay, I'm not sure the points exactly work out in this, but look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at it. This is disgusting.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's take a break and let's hear a word from our sponsor, TraderA.com. If you're like most Warhammer players, you own a ton of models. At one time you had big plans for these models, but now they just kind of sit, gathering dust, unused and unloved. It's time to clean out your closet of shame. Visit TradeArray.com and get cash for your used models. TradeArray is run by Captain A, someone who's been in the community a long time and has done a lot to grow the hobby. He's also a personal friend of the show. Unopened boxes, models on a sprue, half-built models, primed, painted, even bits have value. The process is simple. Send him a list of what you have. He'll send you a quote. You pack it up, send in your stuff, and he'll get you cash. You can shop around, but you're going to find that TradeArray gives you 40% more than the other guys. You want it quick? You want to get rid of it? Visit TradeArray.com. Get cash to buy the stuff that you really want. TradeArray.com. Sell your models and get your cash quick and easy. All right, and we're back. So hopefully we've inspired you to take a look at some of the underused or the overlooked units that you might have in your codex or in other codexes. But especially, Matt, you talked about Imperium. When you sit down to write a list or to come up with a list for Space Marines, there's so many options that makes your eyes. It's just so much, and there's stuff there. I feel like the Space Marines, they're really, really close. They have so many options that it just takes a couple to kind of swim to the top there. Space Marines are just they're kind of in an interesting position because you're only seeing a couple of different variations of the same list.
Yes.
But they have so many options that it only takes a couple chapter approved or an FAQ or a points change or something, a vigilist attachment to bring up some more cool stuff. So, Matt, I think before the show, we were chatting about, and this isn't necessarily overlooked, a lot of people have mentioned this, but the Centurion Devastators with the Siege cohort, the Imperial Fist strat, that thing, you never saw Centurion Devastators with bolters because they all had grav cannons from last edition, but you make one vigilance attachment and boom, those things are valid again, and you see them now. You actually see them in lists.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes you see them in a Bastion.
Sometimes you see them in Bastion.
There you go. Combo.
Yeah, and actually the Bastion makes a lot of sense. If you've got a really nasty loot unit, you just absolutely don't want to be killed.
Yeah,
so.
the bolter rule has really helped them.
Oh yeah, totally.
For sure.
So, and the thing that I would say is, I'm sure, because we're just three guys kind of throwing out our ideas, and and really it was most of the armies that we're a little bit more familiar with.
Yep.
If you guys have ideas for units that you use that have something really cool, like utility wise, or it takes opponents by surprise, let us know. Like on the Discord, on comments, because we can absolutely do a second episode if we, this was sparked by a discussion of Reavers. If we get more units that are like, hey, these are some really cool, combinations between traits and strats and stuff like that, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
I love that idea. 40K has so much depth, and if you're only chasing the top meta list, you're going to miss out on a lot of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's those kind of crazy, kooky, off-the-wall lists. I mean, I guarantee you, Brandon is not a cocky or a guy. He's not. He's very confident in his abilities, but he's not cocky. But I assure you that he did not go into his Sisters of Battle game thinking this is going to be my closest game. Before the final round of the tournament for the tournament. I guarantee he was not expecting that from Sisters, and then suddenly he's going, oh man, I got to pull a lot of tricks to win this game.
Yeah, this is a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah.
And also, too, if you're playing casually or if you're playing kind of like narratively with your friends, there's just a lot of good stuff that, as you mentioned, the competitive scene, I know we always talk about, there's lots of different lists, variations, but there really are. The more you look around, you see the samey kind of things from different armies, but there's a lot of just good units that maybe you have that's really well painted. I mean, the Thunderfire cannon as a model is awful. I had one once.
Oh, yeah.
I had a metal one and I had
apart.
a Finecast one. It was brutal to put together. If you've taken the time to build that thing, you probably should start playing because it's a pain.
Reward yourself.
Reward yourself. Play with the Thunderfire cannon. But yeah, you may have some things that you're sitting on a shelf and it's time to dust them off. So we have probably missed many of your favorite units. This is just our personal experience. As Sean said, message us on our Facebook or Discord. Post a comment below or join our Discord chat. There's no substitute for playing with a unit. If you see a list online that you don't recognize, sometimes there's reasons why people take certain units, and oftentimes it's because they've uncovered some specific role for them. There's lots of just really interesting ideas that people have. The game is massive. There's just piles and piles of rules. There's going to be something good out there that most people haven't really been prepared for.
Yep.
So. All right, that is all we have for some of the underrated or the underused units that we have seen. Thanks for listening to our show. We love to hear from our listeners, so message us on Facebook or email us at thebattlehosts@gmail.com. Let us know some of your favorite units that don't get talked about very often. Tell us how you use them, what role you see for them, and how you've made them work. If you'd like to support us, you can help us in a few different ways. You can tell your friends about us. You can like us on Facebook. You can leave a review on iTunes, which does help to boost our listening audience. Finally, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/thebattlehosts. For as little as $1 a month, you can help us with the cost of running the show and staying engaged with the community. And, of course, for $3 a month, you can join our Discord chat. So that's all we have. Thanks for listening to Battlehosts.
Remember to be a better gamer
and build a better community.
Good night.